Good morning, precious people. Here we are together. It's another fresh day, and I'm so thankful for your irreplaceable light and the wisdom and joy that you bring into the world. Today is a gift filled with possibility. Look outside. Anything is possible today. So let's open this gift with kindness and curiosity, and remember, we're all still growing and learning, so cut yourself some slack. I want to connect with you. Do you have a drink nearby? You can take a little drink with me. Mine is my water. I have my America 250 water bottle here with me today. That's what the episode's going to be about. I was just laying in bed last night thinking about what a miracle our country is, and I want to make this episode today about that. Let's see. Let's all take a deep breath too. I do feel like I need my breath today. I've been busy since I woke up, so need to check in with myself. Feel something up in here. I wonder. Maybe I slept wrong. That might be a sleep wrong. That might not be tension or holding anxiety, or, things manifest in your body and you can feel it. If you take your deep breath and scan your whole body, you can find ooh, what's that about? I think this might have just been sleeping wrong because it's up here. Anyway, I want to maybe stick to what is written because this beautiful weekend ahead of us, we're going to be celebrating our country in a way that I haven't seen in my lifetime. We have so much patriotism and love and celebration of this anniversary, the 250th anniversary. It's the Semiquincentennial anniversary of our country. So, if you look at the map of human history, it's almost entirely dominated by monarchs, tribes, empires. For thousands of years, individual liberty was rare. But 250 years ago, a group of colonies did the unthinkable. So I want to look at the miracle of the United States, how a collection of the youngest, sharpest minds in history systematically engineered this free republic that was a deliberate experiment in self-governance, and how it sparked a liberty fire that swept across the globe. Up until then, we were the only ones doing this. Now, a lot of people mimic what we've designed here, what we experience here. So, when we look at the United States today, it's easy to think this has always just been like this. We take it for granted. But we can see us as this global superpower and economic engine, and really just the anchor to the free world. And it also feels like it's solid and permanent. Like me today, feeling about the United States, thinking about the United States, it feels like it was just inevitable that this would happen. But if you step back into a time machine, go back to the summer of 1776, you'll realize that the birth of America was anything but inevitable. It was, by all objective measures, an absolute miracle that we came to be. So think about the setup here. A loose collection of 13 distinct unorganized colonies, mostly comprised of farmers, merchants, and tradespeople, they decided to declare open defiance to Great Britain. Great Britain was the most powerful military and economic empire the world had ever seen. The British Navy ruled the seas. Their army was professional, ruthless, and heavily funded. The colonists had no unified currency even. They didn't have, they were almost like factions. They weren't unified in any way. So they didn't have a navy. They did have what was called a continental army, just kind of like this ragtag group of men that was chronically starving, even underclothed, not enough clothes or shoes or food to even fund, and there was no funding for them, I guess is what I was saying. What a loss, what a disadvantage we were at. So logically, this American experiment should have been crushed in its infancy. But what took place in Philadelphia wasn't just a military victory, it was a conceptual explosion. For the first time in human history, a nation was formed not on a basis of shared bloodlines, conquered land, or tribal allegiances, but it was based on an idea. Oh, you guys, if you ever get a chance to go to Washington, D.C., do it. Go to the Capitol, go to the White House, go through all the monuments you can. Just this idea this country started with is brilliant. So I want to tell you about the young minds that helped create this idea and trace how their deliberate, brilliant thought process changed the world. So when most of us picture the founding fathers, our minds go to their classic portraits. They're older, solemn, maybe they're even wearing their little powdered wigs, looking down from their little glass frames. I'm just thinking of Benjamin Franklin in particular, those little round gold glasses. Actually, we kind of think of them as senior citizens of history. But when you look at the actual historical records, you discover something completely different. The American Revolution was fundamentally powered, designed, and fought by youth. It was an intellectual and physical startup run by 20-somethings who were bursting with energy. They had classical education, and they had this insatiable desire to start something new. Where have I seen that before? Probably the tech boom era, everyone, young minds just creating all these cool things. So the roster in 1776, the year the Declaration of Independence was signed, let's look at these people. The Marquis de Lafayette, who became the major general and crucial military mastermind. He was, guess how old? How old could a military general be? This mastermind, 18 years old. James Monroe, who would become the 5th president, was also an 18-year-old student. Alexander Hamilton, who would go on to build the first American financial system from scratch and write the lion's shares of the Federalist Papers. He was, well, guess how old he was? Not 18. He was a little older. 21. He was 21. James Madison, the architect of the United States Constitution, was 25 years old. Even Thomas Jefferson, like the old guy in the group, he was handed this monumental task of drafting the Declaration of Independence because of his literary eloquence. And guess how old he was, this old guy? 33. So these weren't tired old cynics. They were young men operating at the peak of their intellectual capability. They were deeply read in classical Greek philosophy, the Roman law, and ideas from the Enlightenment. They looked at the old world with its hereditary kings, its like class ceilings, People before the United States could not rise to a different caste level. It was unheard of. And also the religious persecution that was going on. That's what these founders were looking at, all that stuff going on. They had an idea for this new, completely different paradigm. And they were using their youth, their brilliance, and their bravery to bring it about. So, the process, this is what happened. Those are the people. Now the process, how it happened. A common misconception is that the United States was formed like in an emotional flash of rebellion. We think about the colonists getting angry about taxes, throwing the tea in the harbor, or maybe in their frenzy they scribbled down some laws. But nothing could be further from the truth. The creation of America's founding documents, I don't know if you've seen any sort of documentaries about this or reenactments, but it was rigorous, exhausting, and deeply thought out. This was an intellectual exercise, the greatest one in history, I believe. So let's just look at the Declaration of Independence. Jefferson didn't just sit down and write a generic letter of protest, just out of nowhere, just like I said, very well thought out arguments. He constructed a tight, logical, and philosophical argument. He anchored the document in this revolutionary concept of natural rights, and I'm sure you've heard this before. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. So think of those words. He didn't say that rights were being given to people by the government. That's not what we're writing down, what rights people are being given by this new government. He's saying these are inherent, given by the Creator, which means no king, no parliament can strip them away for any moral or legal reasons. Then came the real uphill battle. Later on, 11 years later, they were writing the U.S. Constitution. So for 4 months in Philadelphia, that's what I referenced earlier, 55 delegates from the 13 colonies, well, now the United States, they locked themselves inside a room with the windows shut so that there could be privacy. Believe me, there was no air conditioning. This was miserable. This was not a camp, going away to camp sort of fun thing for them to do. This was rigorous. So for 4 months, they locked themselves in this room with the windows shut. They debated, argued, compromised, and literally designed a system of government no one has seen before from the ground up. I don't know. I can't even tell you like the weight of those words I feel. Like this brand new, like in all of history, no system of government has been run like this. They were obsessed with checking our human nature. They knew human beings, when given power, naturally tend to abuse it. So they constructed this system of checks and balances. They separated the power into 3 branches: legislative, executive, and judicial. So, and they kind of pitted them against each other. So no single tyrant could ever hijack this republic. So it was politically engineered to the highest order, it was designed specifically to ensure that the rule of law would always triumph over the rule of a dictator. We are prevented. We are, what word am I thinking? Like insulated against the possibility of getting a dictator because how our Constitution was written. So now that we have our Constitution, our Declaration of Independence, we're a country, we are affecting the whole world. I wanted to talk about that. So what started as a local experiment in the New World, it became infectious to the rest of the globe. The ideas that we established acted like this psychological beacon where it proved to the rest of humanity that self-governance wasn't just this dream we could have, it actually worked. So within a few years of the American victory, the spark of this new world, it crossed the Atlantic. So the French Revolution was 1789, and it was directly inspired by the American model, with Lafayette himself helping to draft France's Declaration of Rights of Man and the Citizen, heavily consulting with his close friend Thomas Jefferson along the way. Soon after, the flame of liberty swept down through Latin America. So there's visionaries like Simón Bolívar. He studied the American Constitution and the writings of our founders, leading to a successful liberation movement. It broke the chains of Spanish colonial rule across Venezuela, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, and Bolivia. So this experiment we were engaging in was successful, and other people were implementing it where they were. So, and then it went over to the rest of Europe, some Asia and African places, and it really completely transformed the geopolitical landscape. America became the arsenal of democracy and the explicit definition of the free world. So, we took this look back through history. It leaves us with this overwhelming sense of wonder and gratitude. I hope you're feeling that same way. I feel it so deep. The freedoms we enjoy today, the ability to speak our minds, worship, innovate, and to chart our own destinies, it was bought and paid for and engineered by these young visionaries who risked their lives, their fortunes, and their honor to build this miracle. But the ultimate lesson of the American founding is that the Republic is in perpetual motion. Benjamin Franklin famously warned us that when he was asked what kind of government the delegates had created, he said, "A republic, if you can keep it. Freedom must be actively understood, appreciated, and protected by every generation." Actually, I challenge you today, and me too, just to read through the Constitution or the Declaration of Independence today. Find that. You could probably even find a YouTube video that will read it to you and animate it. It'll be something, you can look at these words through the eyes of those 20-something-year-olds who were standing up against an empire. Woo, I just got chills. It's a miracle. These were some crazy brave guys. Tell you what. Hopefully we have a renewed sense of pride, ownership, and responsibility for the incredible inheritance we share here. So, let's celebrate the miracle of liberty this weekend. You with me? Let's go celebrate. Like, honestly, be out there. Like I said, read the Declaration of Independence or the Constitution. But if anything I said sparked a thought, why don't you leave a comment or a like and subscribe, thumbs up, all that fun stuff. So every day's a chance to learn and grow and become more of the wonderful person you are. I am so glad you're in this world, and the world is better with your light in it. So, I will see you next time, but until then, have a great day, have a great, wonderful weekend, celebrate, be happy, be grateful, and remember, you're the Lord's precious ones. Bye!